Good morning and welcome to Community Focus. I'm Faith Daniels, and today we have an opportunity to really get involved and a up close and personal view of Wilberforce University. We've had Wilberforce on a number of times over the years, and what is always important to me is that we be reminded of the amazing educational jewels and gems that are right in our very backyard. And I have the pleasure this morning to be chatting with an amazing gentleman, Alfred Anthony Pinkard. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for joining us today.
thank you for the invitation. Very
Dr.
excited.
Pinkard, you come at a time where we want people to understand the HBCU experience is alive and well, the culture, all of that. It's just a little different. It's our new normal, as many things in our community are. Thank you for coming and welcome to Community Focus.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. It's good to be with you this morning and your listeners and viewers.
Well, one of the things that we want to discuss is that HBCUs, the idea of this historically Black college and university educating African American young men and young women, speaks to a culture that is far more than just an education. It was literally illegal for slaves to be educated. However, Wilberforce came along at a time where it was supported so that Black men and Black women could get an education, and yet it still stands in Wilberforce, Ohio, as a beacon to all of us that if you want an education, an HBCU is definitely the place to get it because it was steeped in tradition and cultural awareness.
Absolutely. And Wilberforce is particularly unique for a number of reasons. Number one, it is the oldest, the very first private HBCU founded and operated and owned by people of African descent, members of the AME Church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church. It's also one of the few HBCUs, in addition to Central State, which is not in the American South. And so in 1856, when members of, at that time, the Methodist Episcopal Church in the city of Cincinnati and the African Methodist Episcopal came together, and when most people who were of African descent were enslaved in the South, these individuals came together and had the bold idea, which was really very visionary, that they could create an institution of higher learning in the state of Ohio. And from that idea, came Wilberforce University. It is also the only HBCU that exists in 2020 under the same name under which it was founded in 1856, 164 years, making it a continuous institution of higher learning, designed, owned, and operated by people of African descent when things like that just were not done in America. And so the idea of a Wilberforce is an idea of self-determination. It's an idea of boldness. It's an idea of vision. And that idea is a part of the DNA of our institution. And it, as you have noted, it exists today, 164 years later. And so there is an awakening now, a reawakening, if you will, of the importance of HBCUs. And we see that in terms of philanthropy. We see that certainly with the nomination of Kamala Harris, who is a proud Howard alum. And so there's a focus on HBCUs now. And we're very excited about that because we think that this is an opportunity for young people and their families to consider an education at the HBCU, and for investors, philanthropists, and donors who want to invest in the incredible work that goes on at HBCUs. There are 107 of them, give or take a few, 107 right now throughout the nation, mostly in the South, but there are some in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania and other places that are not Southern. And of course, you have three here in Ohio. You have Wilberforce, which is the first and the oldest, Central State, and you have Payne Theological Seminary, all of which, I might add, came out of Wilberforce. So Wilberforce is, in fact, the mother HBCU.
That's right.
And we're very proud of that. And in fact, we say we are the first and we are the future. The first being, as I've indicated, that history, but also a bold future for vibrant, vital, and sustainable Wilberforce for another 164 years and beyond.
Oh, and I'm absolutely always just blown away with the history and the rich tradition in which Wilberforce still exists. My oldest son went to Wilberforce, and one of the things that a lot of people, when they consider an HBCU, they think that the programming is limited. Wilberforce is absolutely respected with more than 19 academic programs that
Absolutely.
are available to
Absolutely.
not only the undergraduate, but also master's and adult continuing education programming.
You're absolutely right. We have the Climb program, which is an adult degree completion program for the working adult. Those programs have become very popular presently, but the program at Wilberforce has been in existence since 1991. In fact, there are a number of people that I meet regularly who will say to me, I'm a graduate of Wilberforce. I came through the Climb program. It's an
That's right.
opportunity for individuals who have been working, who have been quite successful in their professions, but for a number of reasons. Life intrudes oftentimes, and we're unable to complete things that we may have started years ago. And so
That's
we
right.
give individuals an opportunity to do that. And one of the interesting features about this particular program at Wilberforce that we're very excited about is there is a what we call a prior learning assessment, which allows you to bring in your previous work experience and have that experience assessed and have academic credit assigned to that. And the idea behind that is, there is important learning that goes on when you're just out in the world
That's
living your
right.
life. And
That's
if you
right.
are a working adult coming back, we want to honor that experience, and that can be converted. It's a very rigorous process. It's not as simple as most people think, but it is a part of our program. And then, as you mentioned, we have a master's program. We offer a master's in clinical rehabilitation counseling. And we train our students to be culturally sensitive, to
Yes.
go out and work with communities that have been historically underserved and who are experiencing opioid addiction. And so that's a very specific population that we think that we can create a cadre of professionals who can go out and speak to that particular population. And that's what makes our program unique.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, you've mentioned the fact that we have 19 undergraduate programs. So
Yes.
Wilberforce, not only an undergraduate institution, but again, the Climb program and the master's program. And in addition to that, we have, and this program has been around since 1964, we have a cooperative education program. And
That's
Wilberforce,
important. That's important. And
absolutely.
and it is founded careers of so many individuals because your co-op program allows individuals the work experience while still learning with the support of not only your staff and your educators, but also in the corporate experience,
Absolutely.
so that your students really have a heads and shoulders experience over so many other people who simply graduate and go into corporate America.
That's right. You're absolutely right. In fact, one of the ways that we've said that we have defined our value proposition is we say that we want to be an institution with a college to career and an entrepreneurial intention. Because many of our students come to us with an interest in owning their own business and they
Right.
want to be entrepreneurs. And we feel that we have the capacity to really introduce them to the mindset, to the attitudes, to the values, to the skills that are required in order to be a successful entrepreneur. And then, of course, there are students that come to us and their parents, they say, I want to be able to get a good job. I want to be able to go through this experience. And after
Right.
this, I want to be able to have. And so we say that we're focusing in on getting students into college at Wilberforce, giving them the appropriate training, giving them an introduction to a body of research, a body of knowledge, a skill set, attitudes, giving them an opportunity as a result of their co-op experience to network and understand some of the soft skills that are required to be successful in a corporate environment. And then give them an opportunity to go out and live the lives that we think that they are capable and that they are designed to live.
And at Wilberforce University, it is steeped in tradition. It is
Mhm.
steeped in the culture of a historically Black college and university, but it has found favor with so many donors
Yes.
and individuals with the philanthropy that has come into the life of
Yes,
Wilberforce. Let's talk about how people have come to Wilberforce's, the understanding of Wilberforce, and how they have invested because they
absolutely.
believe. They believe.
Absolutely. And it's important to recognize that it's an investment. We don't go to people and say, oh, woe is us. We need your assistance because we have deficits in these areas. We, like many HBCUs, do in fact have our challenges. But what we say to a prospective donor and to a prospective investor is, this is an investment. Let me show you what happens when you invest in Wilberforce University, and more specifically, when you invest in the students that we serve. This is what can happen with that investment. And we have had, as you mentioned, over the last several years, individuals that have looked at Wilberforce and said, this is an institution that I would like to invest. We're also seeing, as I mentioned earlier, an awakening from the philanthropic community. I would mention the $120 million from the Netflix couple that went to UNCF, Morehouse and
Yes.
Spelman. And then, of
Yes.
course, a month later, we had Mackenzie Bezos, the ex-wife of the Bezos family, who gave upwards over $1 billion to causes that address racial and social injustice. And a significant amount of that money went to several HBCUs and UNCF. Wilberforce, fortunately, is a UNCF school. And so we have been able to benefit from that money going to UNCF, which is then distributed appropriately to the UNCF members. There are 36 members, institutions that are part of UNCF. So we're seeing a clear uptick in
Absolutely.
philanthropic community looking at HBCUs and feeling the need to support these institutions. And I say often, whenever I speak with a group of individuals, whether it be prospective donors or alums, the only difference between a Wilberforce, and I'm sure every HBCU president will say this, the only difference between Wilberforce and a Harvard or Princeton or Yale is in fact resources, money. Money is the big difference. If I have the resources that at my disposal that are available to my counterparts at those elite institutions, I would be able to create in every aspect of the institution a top-notch and first-rate programs and faculty and
Oh,
students.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the fact that we're able to do what we do and have done what we have done, we meaning all HBCUs, over the years, for 100+ years, with resources that are a tenth of the resources of our counterparts. And yet we have been able to graduate year in and year out,
That's
graduate,
correct.
go out and
Yes.
make a difference in the world. That's an incredible legacy. That's an incredible legacy. But it's also part of what Black people have done. That's what
That's
we
what we do.
people. We have done that. I was speaking to a colleague of mine yesterday, just last evening, and I was giving him the example of, and we hear this all the time. This is really sort of an archetype example of a mother,
Hmm.
single mother, let's say, maybe an 8th grade education at that.
Hmm.
She works in someone else's home, cleaning that home. She may have 5, 6, 7, or 8 children, and every one of those children have gone to college.
That's
And
right.
now those children are doctors and lawyers
That's
and
correct.
teachers. And on paper, she would be dismissed because we would not understand how she was able to do that.
That's
But
right.
that is a part of the resilience and the force
Yeah.
of Black people that you cannot quantify, you cannot define. We see it over and over and over again.
Hmm.
And that's why we say at Wilberforce, we are a place of possibility for those students with high potential who may have been dismissed in high school.
Hmm.
They have been told by a high school counselor, well, you might want to consider
Yeah.
the armed forces. There's nothing wrong with the armed forces. Let me quickly say, for those of you, there is nothing wrong with the armed forces as an option for students. But when you track students who may do well in a college or a university into
Yes.
that becomes a problem. Or those students, and there are countless of our alums and the alums of other HBCUs that will say to you, "No one expected me to go to college. No one expected that of me."
And graduate. And
And
graduate.
no one ever, that was not a part of my growing up. It was not a part of my consciousness. It was not a part of anything that happened to me in my life. And yet someone took a chance. And here I am today making a difference in my career. I've been able to provide for my family. I've been able to be a positive impact in my community. This is what HBCUs do. And if we've been able to do this work with meager resources,
That's right.
imagine what we could do with the resource, with imagine what we could do with a lot. We've been
Exactly.
doing a lot, so much with so little.
So
And I,
little.
absolutely. And I've been saying, let's get out of that mindset. Let's say we need a lot to do a lot more. And
Exactly.
that's the challenge.
And the challenge, from a parent standpoint, we want to make sure that our children that are graduating, that are juniors, sophomores even, are presented with the opportunity to be recruited by
That's right.
historically Black colleges and universities. One of the
Yes,
most important things is the exposure to the
that's right.
culture.
That's
If
right.
the parents didn't go to college at all, it's
That's right.
going to be hard to then get them in the mindset of college for your child. We want to
That's right.
hope that they
That's
will
right.
understand that there is a better way. But
That's
most importantly, exposing them to the historically Black college and university experience, because there's nothing like it.
that's
There
right.
is nothing that will celebrate our children, celebrate our cultural advances, celebrate who we are as a people, then at an HBCU, and the experience will stay with them for the
Correct.
rest of their lives. The
Yes.
recruitment process, we
Mhm.
are going to have to work hand in hand with our
Yes.
counselors, with our church groups, with our
Absolutely.
youth groups in the community, with our athletic officials, because the first thing they want to tell our kids, go somewhere and try to play football, go
That's
somewhere and
right.
try to get on a sports team, when in actuality, academically, they are
That's
available, they
that's
are
right.
possible, and they
That's
have the ability to succeed academically. I speak
absolutely.
so highly of HBCUs because we take a more hands-on approach to
That's right.
our children.
Absolutely.
There
These
are
are
a lot of children that are at the collegiate level this year and even last year, first time on a college campus.
that's right.
Parents, they will graduate the first college graduate in their family. And these kids are going to school in 2020.
That's right. Exactly.
So,
We know there is nothing like having a young person come to an institution and seeing individuals that look like them that
yes,
have been accomplished. There's
yes.
nothing, because what it says to them is, if you've done it, I can do it.
And
And
you
we
look like
say to
me,
them,
and you sound like
absolutely,
me.
that's right. And we
Mhm.
say to them, if I can do it, you can do it. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear this or that. I've done it, you can do it. And then for young people, and you see their faces light up when they
Mhm.
listen to the history of what Black people have done, and
Yes.
they recognize that our time in America is just an infinitesimal a part of our experience as a people on this planet, and that our American experience is our newest experience. But we have the wealth and the span of what people of African descent have done in the world is so empowering when young people can know that, and they walk differently. They move in the world differently when they recognize that they are from and about and of a people who have been accomplished and who have made a way and an imprint on world history. And I think that's important. So often, here in America, we want to relegate the history of African Americans to the slavery experience. And that's only a small part of our experience. But it's a part of our experience that we should embrace, because the mere fact that we overcame that experience speaks to the fact that we are a majestic and a mighty people. And to have young people understand that and know that about themselves is an important part of what we do at HBCUs each and every day. And so we not only teach a discipline, we not only teach knowledge, but we also teach a self-determination and empowerment based on who you are and whose you are. And I think that that's an important part of the experience as well.
And it's about the culture. It's about the educational uplift. It's definitely about the experience. Wilberforce University is steeped in tradition. We've talked about that, steeped in culture, offers all of the programming at an undergraduate level as well as the master's level, in addition to adult continuing education. And they will go back to school August 31st, and it's going to be our new normal, a virtual experience.
Experience. And we're excited about that. I mean, we recognize that it's not what many of our students are used to, but what I say to them is they really do live in a virtual world. They are very fluent in that world.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're on media, and they do all sorts of things in a virtual environment, but they've never been taught for an extended period of time, and now they will be. And so I've said to them, this is an opportunity, both to students and faculty. This is an opportunity to do things differently, to do things creatively, to be innovative, this is our new normal. And so let's see how we can step up to this and redefine teaching and learning in the 21st century as a result of moving in a different sort of teaching and learning format. We can do this. And someone said last night, I was talking to a colleague, and someone said, let's not focus so much on when the storm is over. Let's learn to dance in the rain. And I think
exactly.
Let's learn to dance in the rain. And so we are going to be doing this in a virtual environment, but we're intelligent, we're smart, we've come through things before. We're going to learn to dance in the rain and be innovative and creative as we move in this virtual environment.
And this virtual environment, again, is everybody's new normal. And we're excited about the future for Wilberforce and seeing Wilberforce go to an exciting new level, because every year Wilberforce has bounced back, jumped up, and flown higher than it can ever fly. And it's only going to get higher from here. And we encourage you, if you have never experienced Wilberforce University, log on to the website, wilberforce.edu, get more information. And of course, for the parents that are listening of high school sophomores, juniors, seniors, this is the time to engage and review, interview Wilberforce University. It may be an experience that your child would definitely benefit from. If you are an adult and you are seeking to finish your education, a lot of us started at one time or another at an HBCU. Me personally, I got pregnant. I had to lay out and then come back strong and finish it. But if it were not for the support of a historically Black college with instructors and counselors that were there through the process to say, you know what happened doesn't define your future. Come back strong, come back part-time, come back however you need to in an effort to finish. Just finish. And, to the adults that are working through COVID and they're trying to figure out, what if my job doesn't come back? What if where I was, I just can't return? Go to school. Finish your education. And this is the time to do it, because you're not going anywhere.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
time
right.
to do it.
Retool. Absolutely. So we're very excited.
Thank you so much for this special time with us today.
Thank you for the invitation. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Well, we won't be a stranger, because we want to keep our finger on the pulse of Wilberforce, the online.
Well,
studies
thank
and how students and faculty are adjusting, and then giving our listeners an honest resource to be able to review and put in front of their young people, whether it's
absolutely.
through their church youth group, or whether it's through a sporting event, or whether it's through for them to come up and visit, drive the
Yeah,
campus, and be
absolutely.
able to have Wilberforce become a viable option in their
Absolutely.
college selection process.
We
That's what it's
welcome,
all
we
about.
welcome you. We welcome everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
It's our pleasure. Historically Black colleges and universities abound, and now is a wonderful opportunity to introduce them to your children if you have not, and maybe even educate yourself on the history and the tradition of these universities, and look at who we are, where we've come from, and how we can help you move forward. I'm Faith Daniels. You've been checking out Community Focus, and we've been talking with the president of Wilberforce University. Thank you so much for checking out Community Focus. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.